Grace's first interaction with Rocky, or at least Rocky's ship, is first one of complete awe. It's so awe-inspiring, the way that the ship is realized, described in the book, but also realized in the movie, is truly like nothing you've ever seen. And he's just appropriately in awe of that. And then it occurs to him that it's an alien spaceship. And first, he's alone in space, and he's resigned himself to the fact that he's going to die alone in space. So at first, there's this burst of hope that a spaceship has arrived and he's not alone. And then he realizes that he's not alone, but whatever's in there is not human. And then, of course, you know, I'm sure every alien movie he's ever seen of like an alien coming out of your chest or wanting to live inside of you just rolls through his head, and he just becomes immediately terrified and then tries to get away from it. Rocky is from a planet called Arid. He's a Euridian, and he's completely different from Grace in almost every way. He lives in a completely different atmosphere. He has no discernible face, although I would say eventually, after spending a lot of time with him, I could see that he had different faces. He's a rock-like spider. Not a spider, he's spider-like. He speaks in song. He doesn't see in the same way that we do. He uses echolocation. He eats in a very disturbing way. He's quite proud of, but I'm not sure why. And when he sleeps, he needs to be watched, because when they sleep, they sort of go into this suspended form of animation. It's almost like they could die and never wake up if someone doesn't watch them sleep. And he's just easy to fall in love with. Grace builds a program so that they can learn each other's language. He pieces together this laptop, tablet communication device where he records the sounds that Rocky makes. They first agree on math and measurement, and then he sort of uses that as a way to sort of find words, and then he starts clocking the words, and then eventually they develop language. Well, they're both there for the same reason, and they are both alone in space, and they both lost their crew. They're both deeply curious. They share their cultures with each other, and they talk about their lives back home. Grace shows Rocky Earth in this simulation room that he has on the ship, and so he's able to sort of share some of play the hits of Earth and try and educate Rocky on his home, and Rocky does his best to kind of describe Arid, but you know, it's not as easy for Grace to visualize. Yeah, their friendship it's the heart of the movie. I think connection can give you a reason to be brave. At first, Grace doesn't really have a reason to be brave, at least not for himself. And his connection with Rocky does that. And it just gives a kind of meaning to his existence. It's becomes everything to him, and it's what they both begin to try and save. The movie is funny. The friendship between Rocky and Grace is full of humor and sort of strange banter. And this laughter is a counterbalance to how high stakes it is and how dire the circumstances are. They're like the odd couple in a lot of ways, and it's the trying to connect, and you know, it just becomes at a certain point. Yes, he's completely alien, and everything he does is different. But they start fighting and bickering and connecting in ways that I think, you know, you will relate to as like the same way you do with your own best friend. I was alone on camera for many months. And so once we got to the Rocky portion of the story, I was like very relieved to start to have company and someone to work with. His friendship with Rocky is so hard-earned, and communication is impossible, and just Rocky, in order to be in his atmosphere, has to create this device in which he can be in the space. I have to say I'm so grateful to James Ortiz, because no matter what was going wrong in that practical way, James was always there in my ear in an earwig, sort of as Rocky's voice. And when things were breaking down or not working, or I was in a harness and in a spacesuit for hours and waiting for something to be fixed or whatever it was, James and I would just talk. And so he really did become, that voice for me, like Rocky was for Grace.